The U.S. inflation rate in June was a whopping 9.1% higher than expected. U.S. inflation continues its highest rise in more than 30 years. Concerns of an economic recession have grown. On July 13th, local time, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the consumer price index rose 1.3% in June alone, up 9.1% year-over-year. The consumer price inflation rate of 9.1% is the highest in 41 years since December 1981. This is higher than the 8.8% analysis polled by the Wall-Street-Journal. Higher gasoline prices, food prices, and housing costs contributed to this increase in the CPI. Excluding volatile food and energy prices, the core CPI also rose 0.7%, MOM and 5.9% YOY. Most economists expected inflation figures for June to rise 1% from May and 8.8% for the full years. Soaring prices are a global phenomenon caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and an unending pandemic. In the United States, prices began to surge around the fall of last year as supply could not keep up with the surge in demand as the COVID-19 pandemic ended. In the midst of this trend, as Russia invaded Ukraine at the end of February, energy prices such as oil and natural gas rose significantly. As a result, the U.S. Consumer Price Index exceeded 8% for 3 consecutive months, starting at 8.5% in March. The rate of increase in June exceeded analysts' expectations. The Consumer Price Index rose 1.3% in June compared to May, a month earlier, and the increase was larger than in May, when the Consumer Price Index rose 1.0% compared to April, as inflationary pressures are not easing. The Fed is more likely to take the giant step of rising rates by 75 basis points at the Federal Open Market Committee. In a situation where the consumer price index shows no sign of coming down, some argue that stronger measures beyond the giant step should be prepared. The argument is that the rate of interest rate hikes should be raised by more than 0.75 percentage points, that is, by 1 percentage point or 100 basis points at once. There are forecasts that the U.S. Federal Reserve FOMC could raise the interest rate in an ultra-big step by 1.0%, which is stronger than a giant step. In fact, Canada, a member of the G7, took the lead in raising interest rates by 1 percentage points on the same day. Canada's move is the largest rate hike since 1998. The Fed has yet to comment directly on the possibility of a 1 percentage point hike. The problem is fears of recession. The fast, aggressive rate hike could put the economy into recession. The level will depend on the extent of the rate hike and further downward revisions to the world economic outlook for 2022 and 2023 are expected at the end of this month. 2023 could be more difficult as the recession crisis escalates. Further problems with natural gas supply to Europe could plunge the economy of many European countries into recession, leading to an international energy crisis. The reverse exchange rate policies of major countries also intensify the crisis of the low-income class. This is because an interest rate hike will further damage the income-insecure class, which has already lost purchasing power due to high inflation. America's horrendous inflation figures and accompanying monetary policy are worrisome for low-income and developing countries already suffering food and energy insecurity.